Hello there. What's going on, everybody? Today we've got ourselves an Anakin Skywalker preview for Star Wars Legion, and we're finally getting like the full reveal here. We're gonna see it all. Anakin bears all. No, it's not that kind of video. We're gonna get a look at all the cool stuff in this particular expansion. Also, if you want more information on giveaways or whatever, stay tuned to the end of the video. I'm gonna be doing all of that kind of stuff after we get through the cards. So let's go ahead and start jumping into the cards. Also, if you want to click to subscribe and all those other buttons too, those are great. So Anakin Skywalker here is the chosen one. We finally get a look at this unit card, and there's so much to unpack here alone, so we're going to spend a little bit of time here. 160 points, so he's not that expensive, which is really awesome. I'm going to talk more about the points a little bit later, but he has 2 force slots and 2 training slots. So 2 training slots is significant. The 2 force slots is reasonably decent, you know. That's kind of about, I think, what we'd expect. Notice the lack of Master of the Force, you know, and the lack of certain other abilities like Charge. We're going to see some other things like that when we look at his command cards, though, because his command cards are going to grant him additional abilities. So if you don't see any abilities on the card here right now, relax, he can gain more of them. He's going to have a 5-die lightsaber, so a little bit less than Vader's lightsaber. And if you're gonna notice that his weapon is Anakin's lightsaber. This is not the first time we have seen Anakin's lightsaber in quotations show up, but it's a little different. And you know, it's better here. Of course, Anakin's lightsaber is going to be better in his hands than in somebody else's hands, so that's kind of a one way to look at that. But 5 dice is not half bad. Impact 3 and Pierce 3. Pierce 3 is always amazing. And even if you want to put like Saber Throw on here, you're still going to get that 3 red dice with Pierce 3, which is going to be really nice. However, the lack of Relentless or something like that built in already means that, you know, for Saber Throw to really be good, you're going to have to play there's a command card that gives you Relentless, so you're going to be able to get that eventually. We're a speed 2 on this particular guy. No surges built in, but we do have a red defense die, 3 courage, which is good. You're going to definitely need that courage, and 6 health, which is pretty decent. It's pretty standard. 6 health is, you know, he can still die with, you know, but he's immune to pierce. He's got tempted and flawed. So tempted at first means you can, I like the way they worded this, by the way. You can equip force upgrades of any alignment. Now, I like that they didn't just say you can equip dark side upgrades. It says of any alignment. They're keeping the door open there. It means, are we going to see new types of force upgrades that are restricted to perhaps other, like Bendu kind of force upgrades or something like that? I mean, maybe we will. You know, I think that's. I'm not going to jump into the conspiracy theory that like, oh, we're going to get like all kinds of different shades of force upgrade right now. I think knowing what we all know and knowing the direction that Mandalorian is going and other things like that, there is the possibility they could go down that route at some point. And I think, you know what, there's just, you know, easier ways to do this. Plus, this allows this keyword to work the same for dark side characters that want to be able to tap into the light side. You know, because they're tempted by the light, like a Ben Solo who's like, you know, like feeling the pull of the light. He might be tempted as well by the light, and so you don't have to change the wording if it's dark versus light or light versus dark. You just call it tempted. I saw like it's just good overall wording. Excellent work with that particular keyword. Immune to pierce is just already good. We've seen that before. Flawed. Add your flaw to an opponent's hand, so you must do this. We're going to talk about the flaw in a little bit. He has Jump 1, which, you know, is pretty standard on a lot of experienced Jedi, so that much is good. But Gem-So Mastery is the keyword that is basically kind of like your Deflect. It's very different, though. Very different. It doesn't have the highest ceiling as Deflect can have. However, it's a lot more consistent. And it's actually, I think, far superior than a lot of other Deflects that we've seen. And it should be superior than Deflect because it is a mastery. So Gem-So Mastery says, while defending, if you spend a dodge token, you gain Surge to block. If at least a hit or a crit result was canceled, the attacker suffers 1 wound. Now, the first time I read this, I was thinking, wait, so they can only suffer 1 wound? It's not like, you know, for every block. I'm like, wait. You don't have to roll any surges for this to work. And you're way more likely to block I mean, with Surge to defense and red defense dice, you're going to be blocking hits, and people aren't going to be taking small shots. Or maybe that's the key too. Maybe the key is to attack Anakin with a single die attack, because then you're going to spend a dodge to either not do any damage back to me, or not spend the dodge, and then I don't have to worry about taking any damage back. But yeah, so the key with Gemso Mastery is that you're going to be doing 1 damage back to some every time, which, or at least every time you spend a dodge, which is good. And the other thing that's great about this is this works in melee also. It's not just against ranged attacks. You're not just, deflecting blaster bolts back at people, which it certainly could be if it's used against a ranged attack, but this works in melee as well. So if Obi-Wan or Dooku or somebody else moves into melee with an enemy Anakin Skywalker, he can Gemso Mastery and do a damage back to you even in a melee, which is really nice. Really, really nice, because they just straight up suffer that wound. And some of these Jedi-type characters, especially with their immunity to pierce and stuff, and they're rolling red dice and stuff, they can be in a long battle that ends up being hard to actually kill the other one. So Anakin is going to really have a nice advantage when it comes to melee versus melee here, being both immune to pierce and having Gemso. It's still, I think the best duel is going to be Anakin versus Dooku, because Dooku can remove that immunity to pierce. So it's going to be like, okay, yeah, you've got 1 advantage on me, but I've got 1 advantage on you because I can do damage right back to you. So overall, pretty cool card. I like the Gemso Mastery. I love that it can be used in melee as well. You're not going to get those amazing things where I roll those red dice and I get 4 surges and now I deflect 4 damage back at the attacker. We're not going to get quite that high of a ceiling, but we're going to get that consistency of we're going to get 1 back, right? As long as we block some. I mean, granted, we could whiff and roll all blanks, and then we're like, oh man, we had a hard time. I will do that. I will do that in a battle report. I will roll, spend that dodge with Anakin against a whole bunch of damage that's coming in and roll all blanks. I will definitely do that because my red dice are terrible when they need to be great and great when it doesn't matter. But yeah, that's what happens. I need to put them in dice prison sometimes. Okay, we got Anakin's command cards, and we've already seen Hero of the Clone Wars, so I'm going to talk about this one first. It's Anakin Skywalker and 2 units, like you would expect from a 3-pip for a hero. I love that we got Rex in the background. I mean, we've seen the art for this already, but it's just a great card. It's really nice to have. Anakin's going to gain Exemplar and Reliable 2. Exemplar, he can share his tokens with other folks. Reliable 2 stacks right into that. I love this card. Based off of what we've already seen, I think if you are trying to not go really risky with Anakin, I think this is an always take, especially if you're running Anakin with clones. I think this is one you always take. It's great. At the end of his activation, if he's not in range 2 of a friendly unit, he gains a suppression token. And of course, it's permanent. This one's just awesome to support clones. If you're running Anakin and Rex, I think you always take this one. I think maybe you don't necessarily have to take his 1 and 2 pips. I mean, his 1 and 2 pips are great also, but they also kind of add up to the whole flaw thing coming in. So the 2 pip, and we're going to have to look at the whole picture too. We're going to talk more about Anakin because he's really interesting. The 2 pip, you underestimate my power. Anakin's getting a little cocky. It's this 2 pip that only issues an order to Anakin. It's not Anakin plus 1 unit. It's just Anakin. So you're already sacrificing a whole command that can be given out. And it also has the permanent ability. Now this permanently gives Anakin Surge to Crit. That's awesome. That's awesome. It's and Master of the Force 1. Master of the Force 1's a great one, especially depending on the stuff that you've taken. If you took Saber Throw and like fear or something like that, then maybe you don't need it. So you can build it this is an optional. This is an optional one. Obviously, if you're going to go with if you're going to make your build centered around Anakin, then you must include this one. I mean, Surge to Crit is fantastic, so there's definitely nothing wrong with that. But there's a little bit of overlap, right? Because if you take Hero of the Clone Wars and you play that early enough, you're gonna have Reliable 2, so you're gonna have 2 Surge tokens. If you're not trying to support a whole bunch of clones and let them all use all your stuff, then you're gonna have 2 surge tokens. So you don't, like surge the crit when you've already got 2 surge tokens ends up maybe becoming less super awesome when you've already got 2 surge tokens. So, but it depends on the role you got. Like there's a little bit of overlap. So I'm seeing a lot of complexity here, like in that maybe you don't take all of Anakin's cards, or maybe this is a good one if you haven't played the 3-pip yet, right? Like there's a lot of finesse and really complexity to how and when you play these cards. And then his 1-pip. This is where the fun begins, by the way. Look at this art, man. I love this. I love this scene, right? It's beautiful. But yes, this is another permanent. Anakin Skywalker only. It's his 1-pip. He gains Outmaneuver and Relentless. Great. Good things that he needs. Relentless is the big one. Oh wait, I missed something for you underestimate my power. At the end of his activation, if he did not perform an attack, he gains a suppression token, right? So this one is just like, whoa, like you can't do this one too early. You gotta get in there, and you gotta get in there close. And without Relentless or Charge, it's not as easy to do that stuff. So maybe we have to look at some things to remove suppression, right? All right, and it's all coming together because these all kind of really work together. For his 1-pip, he gains Outmaneuver and Relentless, and this is permanent. It's for the rest of the game. At the end of his activation, if he was not the first friendly unit to activate during the current round, he gains a suppression token. So if you want to try, like when you play this card, this is like, all right, I'm playing this card and Anakin's going first, right? And for everything to line up, Anakin has to have somebody else near him at all times, right? He has to be going first, and he has to, and he has to attack every round. He's got to be like for him not to start taking the negative effects of all of these cards, which is potentially a lot of suppression. He's got to be like going. He's got to be firing on all cylinders, going constantly. So what happens if you let him, like fall, and he because we're going to look at that flaw card. What happens if you let him kind of screw up, doesn't get to go first, or doesn't get to perform an attack, or ends up by himself, or something like that? Well, you can. Here's his flaw card. Not a story the Jedi would tell. Yes, it's the giant space opera, the jellyfish that are floating around, right? You get this is the card you give to your opponent. This is his flaw card. You may play this card, and this is your opponent. So your opponent's reading this. Your opponent may play this card at the start of the command phase if there is an enemy Anakin Skywalker with at least 1 suppression token. This is at the start of the command phase. So that would mean Anakin would either have to have 2 suppression at the end of the turn, because you can usually you remove 1 at the end of the turn, right? The enemy Anakin Skywalker cannot be issued orders. Now, this is only going to be the 1 turn. Somebody said, wait, can I just play this? No, it's not. It's not for the rest of the game. It's not a card that gets to play over and over and over again. This is a one-time thing. If you could never issue Anakin orders, then that would be pretty rough. But yeah, so you're going to play this card. The idea is when Anakin's moved into a point where it's like, oh, he's about to go first, and he's going to move in and kill like my objective unit, or he's going to move in and finish off my Luke Skywalker or something like that, or Darth, or my Dooku who's low, and you're worried like, oh, Anakin's up in striking distance and he's got all his keywords now. Well, chances are, by mid or late game, he's probably going to have some suppression on him. Whether it's from his command cards not being able to do everything perfectly, or it's from him just simply being shot. You're going to play this card, and now Anakin Skywalker can't be issued orders, which a lot of times in a lot of lists is going to mean that they have to. He kind of sits there and he gets distracted, and I can imagine Anakin kind of walking around like the John Travolta meme from Pulp Fiction, where he's just like, what am I doing here? Like that's the meme I'm picturing. Anakin's like he's having those nightmares of Padme or whatever, and he doesn't activate for a while, and you're left having to pull from the stack until you can get Anakin. Now, I'll be honest with you. My hot take on this card is that it's crap. It's garbage. I'm not worried about this card at all. I don't care. My only worry with Anakin on getting a lot of suppression is losing an action and or panic. And, granted, I'm still going to rally at the beginning of my turn. So, I can probably have 3 suppression. I'll probably rally at least 1. I mean, hopefully, But, I just think that there's ways to run Anakin that are going to easily make this a non-issue. And one of those ways is to run Obi-Wan and Anakin. I think that's definitely something that I want to do. All right, and not only do I want to just do that because I think Obi-Wan helps potentially solve a lot of these problems, and I'll explain how, but also it's thematic. You want to run your 2 lightsaber dudes together, right? I mean, come on, you want to run 2 Jedi together. This is the first time you'll be able to run 2 Jedi together. This is the dream. I mean, if we're not, honestly, what are we doing if we're not trying to put lots of lightsabers on the battlefield? This is Star Wars Legion. We're Star Wars fans. Do we not want to run multiple Jedi together? Do we not want lightsabers dancing down the battlefield? Come on, of course we do. What are we if we're not? I mean, I know a lot of people have different opinions. This is just me hot taking and spitballing, right? So of course I want to run multiple Jedi. So why do I think Obi-Wan mitigates this and if Obi-Wan's with him, does this become not a big deal at all? I'm not worried about it. Well, a couple of reasons. First off, Obi-Wan might take an upgrade card like Hope or something like that can remove suppression off of somebody else. So Anakin's gonna get some suppression on him, probably. No problem. Obi-Wan can help keep that suppression low, which is cool. I like that. And Padme too. I mean, we'll talk about Padme. Padme's awesome. And we'll do some list building videos in the future. I think we're gonna have to put together an Anakin based list in the near future. So stay tuned for that. I'd love to get some some feedback from you guys on that. But I think that's a fun thing to do. But I think Obi-Wan goes great with Anakin here because not only can Obi-Wan help take stress off. I mean, and maybe you don't run Hope, but maybe you do. I like the idea of having a good reason to run Hope, and I think Anakin, it's just so thematic. Obi-Wan gives Anakin hope and keeps him from, distracts him from thinking about Padme. Or if Padme's on the battlefield, he doesn't have to worry about it. Or, well, I guess he does because somebody's going to shoot her. And, there should be something like if Padme dies and Anakin's on the battlefield, he just, lose it. That should be a good house rule. There should be a second flaw. If you kill Padme and Anakin's, within distance 1 to 3 of her dying, he goes berserk and attacks everybody, right? Or something like that. That'd be a good house rule. But the other reason is that Obi-Wan will be able to go with Anakin, so you already have somebody close enough range to him. But the other reason too is even if somebody does play this card, having Obi-Wan there is going to completely mitigate that whole problem of, oh no, I gotta try and pull from the stack now. I gotta try and pull a commander token because even if I play a 1-pip or whatever, I needed to go with Anakin quick. Well, if you're running Obi-Wan, now you've got twice the chances of pulling him from the stack, which is pretty good. The other thing is, Obi-Wan's expensive, so if you've got both Anakin and Obi-Wan, there's probably almost half your list right there, which means you're probably not running a 10 activation list, or 11, or whatever, you probably have fewer guys, and so you can fit, options, you can put HQ uplinks into your list. You could play a 3-pip on the turn that they play this, because this happens at the start of the command phase. So your opponent plays this card. All right, well, the next step at the start of the first step of the command phase is pick a card. So at the start of the command phase, they play this card. Then you have the opportunity after they play this card, you now have the opportunity to pick a command card. So it's not like I'm gonna pick Anakin's 1-pip that only issues an order to him on the turn that Anakin can't get. I mean, I might if it really comes down to it, that, and that's what you want to avoid. That's why I think you want to play the Anakin's 1 and 2 pips kind of early, so you're not stuck doing that. Because now I can play an Obi-Wan card or something like that, or I can play maybe even a generic 1-pip. Maybe I don't run Hello There with Obi-Wan. Maybe I run, the generic 1-pip. That's definitely an option here, because now I can give an order to one of my core, right? Maybe another core hits HQ uplink because the specialist, the clone specialists are coming out too. So you're gonna be able to take the comms guy, right? And you'll be able to put maybe you got an ARC trooper or 2 in the build. Maybe you're running 8 activations, Anakin, Obi-Wan, 3 core, and 2 special force or something like that. We'll have to figure out where the points are and what seems viable and whatnot. But we can really mitigate this card easily in a list, and not doing it just for this card, but like it'd be cool things too. Anyway, I love the idea of having HQ uplink out there. I think that's just awesome. So there's that. But yeah, so this is just it's not really that big of a deal for me. There are going to be situations where you need to activate Anakin. They play this at the right time, but I just don't think I was under the impression that this was going to be a card that makes Anakin turn to the dark side and attack his own list. So like if I don't have to worry about Anakin coming after me, well, I'm not even that worried about it. Oh, well, I have to. Maybe worst case, I pull a core from the stack and then Anakin goes second. And that's really. Now, granted, I probably won't put him in a position where if I know that he's going to end up having suppression at the end of the turn, I'm probably not going to put him in a position where he's going to get, that fire support shot of like 14 dice coming in with Surge to crit to kill him if he doesn't go first next turn, because that's definitely the time that somebody's going to try and play Not a Story the Jedi would tell. Anyway, I've talked about this for way too long. It's probably right at this balance point where if it were stronger, it might be broken, but if it, I don't know. I was just fearing that it was going to be way worse. I almost wanted it to be broken stronger, right? I wanted it to be one of those things where your opponent gets to make a move and attack with him, potentially targeting your own dudes. Like he gets angry and he lashes out at Obi-Wan or something like that. I wanted that to happen. Maybe that would have been crazy broken, but I feel like it would have been more thematic. It might have been fun. It does make me think that if they do Sidious, and he's a separatist guy, or well, I guess he could be Republic too, that maybe he'll have some kind of ability that factors into this card, and you can say you can target a character with suppression that doesn't have a face-up order token and make them do like that would kind of work with all this. Like maybe there's still the chance to do that, but it has to be specifically in the use case that Sidious is doing it. Maybe. Or maybe it'll be another Palpatine card, and it'll be a command cards that you can mix and match so that the Imperial Palpatine can do it too, right? If Sidious is actually Palpatine or something like that, I don't know. I don't know. That'll be interesting. We got some other upgrades to look at too. We've seen offensive stance already. This is a training upgrade that requires force. We also, I'm going to point out that it looked like Darth Maul didn't come with this card when we had that little leaky thing, so it makes me think that maybe Maul doesn't have both training and force. Interesting. Or maybe they just screwed up and didn't put it with him. But at the start of your activation, you may flip this card. When you perform an aim action, gain 2 aim tokens instead of 1. You cannot spend dodge tokens. So if you want to get an aim, boom, you got 2 aim tokens. And we guessed that it was going to be the opposite for defensive stance, and sure enough, it's you can take a dodge and get 2 dodge tokens, but you can't spend aim tokens. Okay, the problem I have here is who's going to spend an action taking an aim or a dodge? Like, I'm not doing that with my Jedi. We got to be moving and attacking constantly. We're not going to be sitting still. Really, just maybe there's a use case where you have Anakin just like taking a dodge action, like he's got to hold an objective, so he takes 2 dodges or something like that. Maybe Obi-Wan would do this. I don't know. I don't like this card a whole lot. I really don't. Not when it's going to require half of your activation just to get, and it has a drawback that you can't spend aim tokens or whatever. And like Obi-Wan's able to get lots of different tokens with some of his command cards and stuff. So I don't know if I like it on him either. Maybe it's good on Jedi Luke. I'm not 100% sure on this one. So this one's going to be like, this is probably one that I don't see myself using very much. I think it's kind of cool, but I just don't think I don't think we've seen the character that really benefits from this yet. Now, granted, if we get like Kanan and Ezra that have teamwork with each other, that's when I see something like this happening. Like Kanan, who has teamwork Ezra Bridger, right? Takes defensive stance. He takes a dodge, gets 2 tokens. Boom. Ezra now gets 2 tokens. Because Kanan got 2, boom, Ezra gets 2. Boom, right? And now Ezra gets to run, doesn't have to stay in defensive stance, gets to run in and can deflect, or something like that. Like when you start giving Jedi teamwork, I think that's when defensive and offensive stance are going to be really, really cool. We'll have to see. We'll see what the future holds. We get with the coolest card in this whole set. Well, I mean, Anakin's pretty cool, but the coolest upgrade card, Force Barrier. First off, Love the artwork on this card. And your eyes do not deceive you, folks. That is... That's Dr. Aphra. That's Dr. Aphra. Vader's protecting Dr. Aphra. Dr. Aphra confirmed, folks. Dr. Aphra is coming to Star Wars Legion. Probably pretty soon. She could be in the next wave. We might not be getting Inquisitors. I could have been totally wrong about my predictions about the very, very next Imperial units. We already know Callus and Lando are coming. But, would it be Callus and Aphra? Like, I really think the Empire needs to be able to get this card, right? So, we got to have more Force users coming. It's got to be Inquisitors or something like that coming. But Aphra's coming soon, apparently. And maybe we'll get BT1 and 000 also. That would be so cool. We could really get a whole bunch of droids for the Empire. But anyway, Aphra's coming. Let's talk about what the card does. Now, it's 10 points. This is an expensive upgrade, which, some of the best Force upgrades are kind of expensive. This is an exhaustible. While another friendly trooper unit at range 1 is defending against a ranged attack, during the modified attack dice step, cancel either a crit or 2 hit results. This is incredible. Love it. Absolutely love it. And then our last one is Seize the Initiative. This is got that X. Remember, we were expecting that one of these cards would be a disposable. Well, here it is, your one-time use. This is Commander or Operative only, and it's a training, and it just lets you give an order to yourself. I don't think it's good on Anakin. He's got a bunch of cards that give him an order by himself anyway. I don't think Anakin is really the target for this one. This was probably going to be really good. Like, look, it's got the artwork for Jyn, but some people have already pointed out, Jyn and Cassian would be great targets for something like this. There are a lot of command cards on the Rebel side, especially with the Jyn and Cassian command cards, that deliberately want to give bonuses to people with face-up order tokens. So Jyn is going to definitely work with that. Jyn and Cassian both, I think, have the capability to really benefit from this card. Very, very cool card for them and maybe certain other characters. But also a lot of commanders and operatives tend not to have the comm slot, so they don't have the option to get an HQ uplink. I think the only exception to that right now is Iden Versio, if she has... she takes the comms thing, and R2 with C-3PO. But yeah, but generally this isn't really an option. So hey, it's a cool option. There are some, and it's not that expensive. It's $5. It's way cheaper than HQ uplink, but it's just a one shot. But hey, you know what? Sometimes you really need it. Maybe Boba Fett's gonna get better, and you're gonna really want to make sure you don't want to use those weapons. Maybe you don't like his command cards, but you still want him to guarantee that he can get an order on a certain turn, especially when he's really, really far away. I could see this being a Boba Fett option or something like that. Granted, I know a lot of people aren't running Boba Fett right now, but he's still cool. He's still Boba the Fett. His backpacks got jets. All right, that's all we've got. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. There's still that giveaway going on right now. There's actually 2 giveaways going on right now. ARC Trooper giveaway is running all month long, and the $25 Amazon gift card giveaway is running right now as well. You just have to be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. It's as simple as that. Check out my website, Crabbok.com, for more details on the ARC Trooper giveaways, because there's also a giveaway going on for social media with the ARC Troopers as well. You are going to be able to get information down in the video description, so make sure you click down there where it says see more. You're going to get links to all kinds of things. My Teespring store, if you want to help support the channel, there's links for merch down there. There's links for Patreon down there. There's also links to my Discord. I run game streams. You can come play games with me. We're running Star Wars Squadrons. I'm thinking about maybe even setting up some Among Us or something like that. And the way to have a chance to get into those games, you got to be in the Discord, because that's usually when I'm going to stream a game. I'm like, hey, who's on the Discord? You guys want to play some games? Okay, cool. That's kind of how that works. Plus, there's communities there for Legion, for Armada, for X-Wing, for other games. That's just something you can do. But there's links for all that stuff down in the description. And that's all I've got. I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, for watching these videos with me. Special thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I could not do this without you guys. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you all so much. And as always, have a great day.